My name is Neil Rose. I'm the co-founder of Referoo. Um, and this will be like, I think, my fourth job in my life. So I started out at wanting to be an architect. Then I found out that you needed to have some sort of proficiency in art. So I did a degree in civil engineering because I like building things. I got a degree as a civil engineer, then decided after 5 years of the degree I didn't want to be a civil engineer. So the step from there was naturally to go traveling in Australia. And I found myself getting into sales, and particularly door-to-door sales. And I did that for 13 years. I ran teams of hundreds of people in the UK and hundreds of people in Australia. And eventually we got to the point where I decided to move on from doing that sales and running sales teams and organizations. And I partnered up with my previous salespeople who had moved into recruitment to become and start a referee. So I was a referee a lot for all these people, and being a referee is annoying, and being a recruiter trying to do references is annoying. So we thought we'd naturally have a solution, and that's how we ended up where we are now. Like, I think the best advice I can start there was, and something I forget and gets reminded to me all the time, which is the amount of you tend to overestimate what you can do in a short period of time, or wildly underestimate what you can do in a long period of time. Because we look back on what Referoo is now and where we were like 2 years ago, and it's ridiculous how big we are now compared to what it was then. But we're wanting everything done now, and we're always frustrated that we'd only gone up by another 2,000 monthly recurring revenue, which was 20% at one point. So it's a great growth rate, but we now look back and go, yeah, we certainly should have listened to that advice more. I'm not sure about the worst piece of advice I've ever received. I tend not to listen to other people's advice. I tend to just go, yeah, I'll put that aside and think come up with my own answers. I think what people generally say to this answer is, I wish I could tell my 18-year-old self it's going to be fine. But I remember back to being 18 and early 20s is I always thought it was going to be fine. I've always gone through business thinking it'll be fine, it'll work out, and it just always has. People keep saying I'm lucky, but I just have confidence that it's going to work, and I put myself in a situation where there is no other option. It is just going to work because there is no option B. So, yeah, I suppose the advice would be, yeah, it is going to work out, but I think I already knew. The biggest mistake I made was probably my last business when things are going great. It's fine not to be looking at finances and to looking at too much about where it's going. You just do more sales. But then when things not going great, you tend, because you're not in your business so much, you tend to not be aware of maybe mounting costs or what potentially an impending doom. And if you're so passionate about your business, you're like, I can just trade my way out of this. You maybe don't pay attention to the figures which say, look, the best thing to do now is cut your losses, stop it, and move on. So what I did in my previous business was I ran it all the way to the end until, I didn't have any other option but to close a business. And it didn't leave me with the assets to start the other one successfully and easily. So that'd be the best thing to do. Just make sure you stay on top of stuff. And if it looks like a loser, sometimes you just need to cut it and let it go. Yeah, it's certainly believing in yourself. When other people say, look, this isn't going to work, then you're like, what are you talking about? Of course it's going to work. So belief in your product, what you're doing. Other things that are important is I tend not to really care about what other people think about me. I know people spend a lot of time worrying about what other people think about them, but in reality, people don't have the time to bother thinking about you. They're too busy worrying about what other people think about them. So, people, I tend to find if you just get on yourself, just keep doing it, plod away over time, everything will pan out for you. That's what works for me. Maybe not that guy.